Kenneth Witt, and welcome to Gundog Nation. Gundog Nation is much more than a podcast. It's a movement to build a community of people around the world that like to watch a well-trained dog do what it's bred to do. Also, we want to get our youth involved into the sport of gun dogs, whether it be hunting, sport, or competition. We want to build a community of people united to preserve our gun dog heritage and to be better gun dog owners. Tune in to each weekly episode and learn about training, dog health, wellness, and nutrition. We will also offer tips for hunting with dogs and for competition, hunt tests, field trials, and other dog sports that involve gun dogs. Please go to our website, gundognation.com, and subscribe to our email list. We will keep you informed weekly with podcasts that are coming out. We also will be providing newsletters with training tips and health tips for your dog. You can also go to patreon.com/Gundog Nation and become a member. There's different levels of membership on there. Just go check that out. Also, would like to thank Sean Brock for providing the music for this show. The introduction and the outro is Sean Brock. He played everything on there except the banjo by Scott Vestal and the dobro by Jerry Douglas. Sean is a neighbor of mine from over in Harlan, Kentucky. I'm just across the mountain in Hyden, Kentucky, and he's a super talented guy. But most of all, I want you guys to check out the Creekers. They are also from Hyden, Kentucky, and this is an up-and-coming bluegrass and country band, and these guys are hot. They're all over TikTok and YouTube. You will hear these guys because in a year or so, they will be on the radio. They are very talented. Their videos are going viral on the net. These boys are family. Two of the lead singers, one grew up with my daughters, and the other one is my cousin's son, so he's family. But check them out. Check out the Creekers. Also, last but not least, if you want to buy a hat, koozie, t-shirt, or even gun dog supplies, go to shopgundognation.com and you can purchase any of those items. Thank you so much for listening. It's a privilege to have people that want to put up with me talking about dogs all the time. I actually enjoy what I do, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity, and thank you. Hey everybody, Kenneth Witt, the Gundog Nation Podcast, coming to you today from a ranch at Fort McCavitt, Texas. Before I introduce this gentleman who I'm a big fan of, I want to just do a real fast, Adam, if you don't mind, do a real quick rundown of my sponsors. I've got commercials, but I do this just in case because they do a lot for me. The Dog and Hunt Supply, summer rentals down in Quitman, Arkansas. Great place to get dog gear, especially for hound guys, coonhound guys, beagles. But now she has everything, and she has hunting clothing, any kind of dog supplies. Also, Turtle Box is partnered with us now. And hey, what can you say? Those things are indestructible. It's great sound. I grew up playing music. I'm a bluegrass guy and played music for years, and I know good sound when I hear it. Those Turtle Boxes are number one, and they're waterproof. Also, over in Louisiana, Cable Gangs makes the best, and I'm not just kidding, the best well-made in the USA dog tie-out systems. Next is Pure and Pro Plan. Adam and I both preach the Pro Plan gospel because we are believers, and you can't beat it. Adam's probably been on it longer than me, actually. Two more, Folicious, a friend of mine's that own a Vietnamese ramen noodle company in Houston, Texas. And they got made famous on Shark Tank last year, Adam, and they're all over global now. And it's a husband and wife team that just started in their house. I love it. 2 or 3 years ago. And I love seeing people like that get successful, and they're the greatest people. They've been here hunting at the ranch a few times. And last but definitely not least, one of our new sponsors too is Ducks Unlimited. So happy to have them. Adam, you got great sponsors too. And I think if you want to give a shout out to yours, this is your show. You're the guest.
Man, this is your pony. We're going to ride just the way you tell us to ride. But, I will kick in on the Purina train, Ray Vogt, Carl Gunzer, Mr. Jerry. All those guys are awesome. They're good to us. They give a lot to what we are trying to accomplish together as a retriever community. I've tried a lot of the other stuff, and it's just not the same. It's not as good. So I would like to give those guys a kick in the can, and we appreciate everything they do for the retriever game.
Adam, you said it. I know Ray's one I deal with. Of course, I run different dogs, so I know Greg Blair with the pointers, and I know one of the veterinarians I've had on here. But you're right; they do so much for the sport. They're now in the Super Retriever Series sponsors. They're big sponsors in the coonhound world, and then obviously the retriever world. They dominate sponsorship in all the retriever sports. But Adam, it's funny. You and I this is podcast take number 3. And the first
man, you are dealing with with a dinosaur here, Ken, and I'm about as computer illiterate. I tried to hook it up on my computer and I couldn't get it. My phone was updated, wanted me to iOS this and iOS that and all this. And I finally called young Bradley in here. It's like, hey, fella, can you please get this apparatus going so we can do this podcast?
Well, the first one, we got 45 minutes through. I ought to dig that out one day and publish it anyway because it was good. The second one, the second one was my fault. I was here at the ranch, and now I have Starlink here, and it's great if it's positioned right. But anyway, before it was my fault the second time on my end. Hell, it might have been mine on the first time. But Adam, man, I listen to the Doghouse podcast. You and Jimmy, every time you have an episode out, I'm listening to it. It's one of the first go-tos. I listen to Chris Rudd too, but he takes a fall hunting season hiatus. So I'll be looking forward to his podcast coming back out. Jimmy, there's so much. Adam, there's so much I'd like to talk about with you and Jimmy. I know I don't have you both on here, but how long have you guys been in the podcast business?
I guess this is going on about, 4 or 5 years now. I'm terrible at keeping up with. People ask me all the time how long I've been training dogs, and I say I don't know. Just been training. I think this is year 5, maybe just going into year 5.
Okay. And I know just from our podcast before, which didn't get published, you're in Alabama. You walked on in Alabama, correct?
I did. I walked on out of high school and was there for a couple of years, and it was. And I'm still a Bammer through and through, and I love the Tide, and just the phase of where college football has gone. As I have fought hard for it not to take my love for the game away, but I ultimately just don't care as much as I once did. The guys are fly by night, and they come and go, and they're just anybody that throws the next penny at them, it seems like they go. But there's a few guys out there right now that I feel like could go anywhere in the country, and they've stuck around. And there's a quarterback that we just declared for the pros, and there were reports he got offered $6.5 million by Miami and $5 million by Ole Miss to not go into the draft and go into transfer portal and go to one of those schools. And he said, man, I put my cleats and my handprints in the shade of Denny Chimes out there, in the shadows of Denny Chimes, which is a monument on the University of Alabama on the quad, and all of the football captains get to put their cleats and their handprints in the concrete. And he said that would tarnish my legacy at the University of Alabama and how I would be looked at from that standpoint. Therefore, I refuse to do it, which, hey, kind of made me poke my chest out. Good for that young man. We need more men like him in that game instead of just chasing a penny, I think. That's just me.
Adam, I'm with you. I'm older than you, so I'm definitely old school and I'm a traditionalist. I went to University of Kentucky 4 years, and you and I grew up where people went to a college and they stuck with that college, and they had roots there. But there's no roots anymore on campus. Some of these kids transfer every single year. And I understand money. I understand making money. We all got to work. You and I both work, but it's just kind of sad. I don't have the answers.
Right. And I'm not a money driven guy. If it was, I probably would have got out of dogs a long time ago, because Mr. Ronnie Lee told me this, and I totally agree. If I would have put the amount of effort and the time and the grit and the fight and everything that has went into getting to where I'm at today with my business into any other business in the world, probably I'd be a gazillionaire, right? I'd be telling Elon Musk to kiss my ass because I'd had more money than him, because this takes a lot of work, and it's a passion. It's something you got to live to do. And if you don't, it's just hard to make it.
Man, that's well said, Adam. I was just listening to you on that podcast, the husband and wife out of Colorado.
Yeah, Kenny Trott and Marcy Wright.
Yeah, and one of the things you said that really caught me is like, and I'm paraphrasing. I can't quote what you said, but you was talking about how hard of work this life is and what you guys do every day and in weather. And it's funny what you just said. If you put that much work at something else, you'd be CEO of a major corporation,
Right. Or own your own business is worth $100 million.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
Yes.
And all of the dog business, and there's other better businessmen that have built better businesses than what Adam has built, just to be, transparent with you. But in the dog training business, Hillside Kennels, Campbell's Hillside Kennels is worth what the dirt is worth and what the most stinking dog trucks are worth and what the four-wheeler is worth and the buildings are worth. You can't sell Campbell's Hillside Kennels as a business because inevitably it falls back onto me, right?
Yeah.
So when you take me out of the equation, the business is not necessarily worth much more than what the material is.
It's just a piece of real estate with some equipment.
That's right. And that's just not me. That's remove Tyler Patterson from Maple Ridge. Remove take Stephen Durance from Taylor Farms Kennels. When you remove that guy that built it and who the people are coming to get their dogs trained with, the business itself is not necessarily worth just 14 times EBITDA or whatever.
Well, Adam, we have unusually we have a lot in common, but one of the things that separates you and I worlds apart is that you are a highly experienced, very accomplished pro trainer. I'm an amateur trainer, grew up in Eastern Kentucky, thinking I knew how to train a dog until I got around real trainers and know that I didn't know a dang thing. But I want to pick your brain a little while. There's no way I could get your training knowledge into a podcast, but there are some bits and pieces I think you could add that'd be highly valuable. What's your biggest piece of advice to someone wanting to get in to hunting and working a dog and maybe training their own dog? How you started somewhere, how, and you've learned a lot, I'm sure, from your mistakes, like all of us. What's some of the things, if you just started over years ago, that you would do differently?
I can't just sit back and pinpoint something I do differently, but what I would tell somebody that's getting into going to train their own dog, or maybe I have desire to be a dog trainer one day, is you can't substitute hard work. You can't substitute passion. All right. You can't substitute want to, because that dog isn't going to train itself. So you've got to do your work and you got to do your homework and be prepared to train it. And, I started out with a book called Water Dog. I mean, how many people have you ever heard say, first book I ever read on dog training was Water Dog, right? So
I hear that about once a week.
Yeah. So everybody you come in contact with, essentially, right? Richard Walters, that's that book was fantastic for me in that time frame of my life. And now I would say that book is like the 1960 Green Bay Packers playing the 2025 Green Bay Packers. So much has changed and so much has advanced, and so there's a lot of difference. But the bare bones, the backbone of that book still holds true today in a lot of different ways and a lot of things. So it's a really good read. Anyway, the passion and the hard work is two things, and I think you're going to learn from your dogs. You're going to have to let the dogs teach you as you grow. Reading dogs, certain things works for one dog that doesn't work for the other. But if somebody is ready to go, get you a good pup, spend copious amounts of time with it, teaching it every little thing that you possibly can, and then work your butt off.
I like that. Adam, one thing that I hear from people that know you and respect you, and I know two other guys that are in your kind of in your level, and I don't mean that I'm not saying he's better than that, but they're pro trainers. Let's just do that.
Right.
Clark Kington, Landon Poplin, and both those guys have a big respect for you. And one thing I see common among the three of you, and I know all of you, I know them real. I've hunted with Landon a bunch or some, and I talk to Clark pretty regular, and I've hung around you a little bit. But you guys all have an extremely strong work ethic,
Right.
and that has to be a huge part of it. I mean, getting a dog to the level you guys do it takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work, and it takes a good dog too.
Okay.
You can take an average dog and turn it into a pretty good dog, but to have an elite dog, you got to start with elite ability, and take that, mold it, and teach it, and build it, and create a great foundation. And as we go up, we got a great foundation to fall back on when we try to do difficult things, right? So,
Yes.
but yes, hard work to me is really number one. I'm a hard worker. I've been a hard worker ever since I played ball in high school, and I've just always believed in getting down, getting dirty, and hard work. And sometimes, I've never claimed to be the smartest or brightest guy out there, and I know that blows you away, Ken. But a lot of times, hard work, we can outwork people. It can make up for some of your deficiencies in other areas. So you know what? I put my nose to the grindstone and I get to work.
It pays off. Adam, tell us what Adam Campbell looks for when you're trying to find that elite dog. What are traits that you want in that dog?
Right. So, I asked Marcy and Kenny this too, and it was kind of eerily the same. We want dogs that can mark, because that's kind of like Pete Rose being able to put the bat on the baseball, or Tony Gwynn, right? They didn't hit home. They didn't hit them out of the park all the time, but they were successful hitting the ball, putting the ball on the bat. The dogs, to me, are born with that ability, and you can't necessarily just insert great marking into a dog. I feel like you can make an average marker into a better marker, but the elite ones, I think, that I feel like marking's one of them. I think they have to be team players, and they have to want to work with you. I think they have to be very smart. They have to be driven. They got to have desire to get out and want to go. And the other, they have to be well socialized too. That's not necessarily what instincts we're looking for, but that's our job. And then, and Marcy said they can't be allergic to the water. And that was a great point that she made. They got to kind of want to do well in the water.
I like that. Now, are you a breeder also?
I do a little bit of breeding. Like I'll breed if we get a good gyp come through here that does a real good job and has a lot of the qualities of what we're talking about. She's got good marking ability. She has great work ethic. She wants to come out of the trailer every day and give you good effort, not only on marks, but blinds and the yard work. How was she going through the yard work? Was she clammy, or did she come out every day? And then, hey, that dog likes the water. She does a good job in the water. We will look to breed that dog, yes. Another one is do they shit in the pen every night and smear it all in? If they do that, I'm not interested in breeding them, right? Pardon the language. I'm sorry.
You know what? I had two top-notch retrievers over the last 10, 12 years that you could run them. I used to do shed antlers, and I'll try not to talk too much because I want to hear what you got to say. But I ran that dog. I'd run 3 hours running for looking for sheds. We'd walk, and it put it up in the pen and use the bathroom. Do both, then lay in it. You can't fix it. I don't care what you do. It's just like a human. They're either clean and neat or they're not.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think you can. If you figure out a way to fix it, please tell me. But I never could fix that.
I don't care to breed them if they're that way, if at all possible. So if they are, they got to be really, really good in those other areas,
Yes. Do you place more importance on the male or the female in breeding?
I think the female pulls a lot of the weight. Um, I truly believe that. It's crazy how you see traits in puppies that their mama had. And hey, look, the dad is a big factor too. I don't want to diminish the fact that the dad is not important, because it is. But I don't feel like you could breed, you know, Windy City's Mighty Mouse, Mickey, which is a great, great, great producer, to an old dog that ain't no count. And the puppies ain't gonna be no count. I feel like the mama has to bring a lot to the table also.
I'm not an experienced breeder by any means. I agree with you. That's my opinion and what I've seen over my lifetime. Horses and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam, you have a lot of years as a football player, but you also coach football. Have you brought any of those traits and all that stuff to the dog training grounds?
Oh, yeah. I still think my dog training philosophy falls right in line with my football coaching philosophy. So before I started training dogs, I was a school teacher, and I coached football at Tuscaloosa County High School. And we played football at the highest level of Alabama high school football is played, So it wasn't like it was, 7-man football with us. We were really playing some really, really good football. And, my philosophy, from a coaching standpoint was, I feel like the kids have to know that I respect them. I feel like the kids have to know that I love them, right? And I feel like the kids have to know that I would do anything in the world for the betterment of that person, right? So I want my dogs to feel the same way about me as I wanted those kids to feel about me. I want my dogs to feel respected, all right? I want the dogs to know that I love them and care about them. So I'm going to sit in the chair and let them put their feet in my lap and love on them and do things like that. And then, I feel like if a kid falls in line that way, it's going to run through a wall for you. I felt like those boys that played defensive line for me would have lined up and fought a grizzly bear for Coach Campbell. And I want my dogs to have that same type mindset. This guy, I'm going to go to battle with him because I know he's going to be fighting right there with me type deal.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with the Gundog Nation Podcast, and we're proud to announce that we are now partnered with Ducks Unlimited. Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has been on a mission protecting the wetlands that waterfowl call home, from the northern breeding grounds to the southern wintering havens. Thanks to the effort of passionate volunteers and supporters, Ducks Unlimited has conserved millions of acres. But the truth is, the work isn't done. Come be part of the next 1,000,000-acre year. Visit ducks.org/volunteer today and join a team making a real difference. Because when it comes to protecting our continent's waterfowl, that's what Ducks Unlimited does. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation Podcast. We are so proud to be sponsored by Dog and Hunt Supply in Quitman, Arkansas. Many of you know Summer Reynolds, and she runs the best dog supply store in the United States. I've been there. I buy from her. She has everything you can imagine. Her store and her workers, they are Garmin experts. Matter of fact, Summer herself can work on your Garmin collars. She's also a lifelong hunter, a generational hunter. She owns hunting dogs. She doesn't just sell dog equipment, she backs it up. She's the real deal. And actually, I think she actually might own more dogs than I do. If whether you hunt coon, rabbit, hogs, predators, or you're a turkey hunter, you name it, they have supplies there for you. She has Sitka, Filson, Haybo Outdoors, all kinds of clothing, boots, boat boots, deck boots, hunting boots, you name it, they have it. It's dogandhunt.com. Check out Summer Reynolds. They're on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and we are so proud to be sponsored by them. I love that. And I had a podcast guest named Adrian Jackson from the Panhandle of Texas up near Amarillo area, who works at it's a real famous school up there for troubled kids. And I remember him telling me on this podcast how he used he was a ball player. He was a college basketball player, actually in Oklahoma College Basketball Hall of Fame, I think. But he was telling me how he used his dogs. He's a national champion pointing dog trainer, won an NFC, NFC. Anyway, he was telling me how he used that in training dogs to work with some of those kids, and it was along the lines of what you just said, that respect value that you earn. I was an officer in the Army. We had to do that too. If men don't respect you, you can't lead anybody.
Right.
I love that. I like what you said. Adam, I'm not trying to redo your podcast, but you and Jimmy had a discussion that I listened to driving a while back about the current trends and the changes in the Master National.
Right.
Is that still the same, that they're still limited in the number of people allowed? I haven't followed it. I was wanting to talk to you about that.
Yeah. So at each year at the Master National, we have a national meeting, and there was proposals brought forward that to undo the fact that we were going to be limited, and that proposal passed. So this year, going to Oregon, we will not be limited on the number of dogs that we can take. No. I think I'd have to. I'm not a real big political guy. My buddies will come to me. The guys that are involved in the politics of the sport a little bit heavier than me, and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Or Adam, I think we need to back this. And I'm like, "Well, you're my guy, so I'm going to stand with you," type deal. But I think it was voted in where a pro can judge the Master National now.
Okay.
Is that, and there was one other thing that got voted through, and I'm drawing a blank on it. I can't remember, but no, we will be able to take. If I qualify 24, I can take 24.
Okay.
So that's a lot. I hope to. If there's not 24 going this year, I'll be okay with that too.
Now, Adam, am I correct? You only run AKC. You don't run the HRC stuff.
You're correct. Now, I do plan to try to work my way back into doing some HRC for my customers, but yes, sir, I'm mainly AKC guy.
Is it just because you don't have enough hours in the day to run all the tests? And travel.
Yeah, I don't think it has necessarily hours in the day relative to training, because I feel like the training is going to overlap and mesh, right?
Yes.
It's just, I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter and a lovely wife at home, and I just, I feel like I get one shake at being dad. I'm not going to get another go at being a father, right? So I want to give my best efforts to being a good dad as possible. And if I'm gone every weekend, I feel like that's a pretty tall task on being a great dad. So I feel like I can do the master test and do enough of them to get qualified for the national. I do the one big event for the Master National every year. And then I feel like that optimizes my time to be at home and less on the road. And I've still gone a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's just where I'm at in my life right now, it fits. And I'm able to make a good enough living to provide for my family, and I'm just extremely blessed on that front. But, I get one shake at this dad deal, and I'm trying to knock it out the dang park. Even though I fail daily at it, I'm trying my best to knock it out the park.
I've been there, and my kids are grown, and I still don't feel like I'm with them enough, but I know the feeling. Now, are your daughters, are they in sports like you were?
My oldest daughter, Marley, she is a extremely talented dancer. She does ballet, and there's all sorts of tap dance, ballet, some kind of musical theater. I'm not as steeped on the dance deal as I can. I just know when she dances, it makes her daddy cry. So
that's hard stuff. That ballet's hard stuff.
She's beautiful, and she's so smart, and she does an incredible job. And it just blows my mind every time I get to watch her, how good she is. Because I can't dance a lick.
Same here. Now, is she the one that bashes Ford trucks?
No, that's Cassie May. That's my 12-year-old. She plays softball, and she's about to try out for middle school volleyball next year, so she's excited about that. She's an athletic little rascal. She gets after it. She works hard too. Marley's an extremely hard worker, and Cassie May, if you drive a Ford and are Auburn fan, you're in trouble around here. Boy, she's going to get you.
More profit.
A young man that used to work for me named Levi, he came here for an interview, and he was like 19, and he had this, I wish I had hair, but he had this beautiful mane of hair, and it came down the back into a mullet, and it was just something that we don't do around here. You know what I mean? I'm okay with having hair and it looking nice and all that, but you're not going to work around here and have hair all over you. I just can't take it. And she looked over at me and she said, "Is he going to get a haircut before he comes here?"
That's hilarious.
So she's pretty rough on him. So
hey, my youngest daughter my youngest daughter is 24, but she's a redhead and opinionated. And that sounds like, she'd be like that, I think.
Marley, my oldest, is redheaded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got one of those. They get that after my dad was redheaded. They get that after him.
And she was other day at school. She said one of the kids was kind of picking at her about her hair and called her Irish, maybe. And I said, "Well, tell him to kiss your Irish ass." She's not gonna go do it, but that's what I told her to tell him. So
yeah, it's they say, Adam, I don't know the studies on it, but that there's getting to be less and less red-haired people in the world.
Is that
Have you
right?
ever heard that?
No, I hadn't.
And I've heard, I think it's actually factual, but I don't have the research to back it up right on my fingertips, but I think that's accurate.
Yeah, she has beautiful, beautiful red hair. It has some little blonde streaks in it, and everybody always asking her, "Do you have those highlights put in there?" And she's like, "No, they're just there." And so it just tickles me because a lot of times, they pick at her about her red hair a little bit, but at the end of the day, she's a beautiful child. I don't know how she has my genetics in there, but I hope that she does. She's way too smart and reads all the time and wants to be valedictorian, and her grades are 100s and 99s, and
nice.
She is so smart. And I'm just like, man, I wonder if she's got any Campbell in her.
Do either one of your daughters work dogs with you at all?
They Cassie May, the little one, she has a little dog named Marcy that she will work. Marley don't necessarily work the dogs, but she will help me at the kennel. In the summertime when they're here, I can say, "All right, you girls feed this truck," and they can feed those dogs on that truck and air them just like I can. And they enjoy doing it. And I'm trying to teach them that, money is earned, right? You just don't sit around and people walk by and give you $100 bills. That's just not how life works. So if you want to have things, if you want to have money, you want to have stuff, you have to put in the work to get it. And you have to, be diligent about your work. So if this dog needs 2.5 scoops, it gets 2.5 scoops. Now, if the next dog needs 2 scoops, you got to remember that so that the dog's not overfed or underfed. So they have learning to not just come and help do a job to earn money, but to do it the way it's supposed to be done. So I don't know.
Adam, I know you hunt, and I know you've been training a long time. In your years as a hunter and as a trainer and as a pro trainer, what changes have you seen in the Labrador Retriever breedings that we have now?
Man, that's a great question. And that would be probably a better question for somebody that's super observant. I am what's in front of me today. Let's tackle this task. Let's roll on. I don't take in all of the stuff, but I do think that the dogs are maybe smarter than they were when I first started. So that means I have to be smarter. I think the dogs on average are a little smaller than they were when I first started. And some of them can be sensitive and some of them can't. To me, it's been that way. They say that some of them old dogs you have to train them with a 2x4. It's not necessarily that way anymore. Most of them are trainable and are smart enough to be trained that we get in here.
I like what you said. You've had to kind of change a little bit, evolve as a trainer for these smarter dogs.
Right.
How would you? Can you remember an example where you've done that? You're like, oh man, this dog's pretty sharp, and you had to attack it a different way as a trainer.
Well, you see that all the time. Like I've got a little dog right now named Henry, and he's about 8 months old, going on 9 months old, and he is extremely intelligent. He does a lot of cool things. He has marking ability. He has want to, but he is a little bit sensitive. So, you got to be careful when you've taught him something and you reinforce it. If you see right away that maybe he don't understand, you may need to go back and teach him one more time. And then another thing, like a dog like that I felt like was really smart, really driven, I might would have pushed too fast and not been as sound in building my foundation as possible, right? So just when you think you got that dog learned how to force fetch in a very short amount of time, probably 12 days, 14 days, we went from on the table into doing walk and fetch, which is incredibly fast for my program. Because so sometimes I feel like, man, that dog went too fast. We have got to, so I may slow down, spend a few extra sessions on teaching just to be sure that he's got something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Those smart ones are the ones that you can get to cruising too fast and miss something, and then all of a sudden you got a hole or crack in your foundation, and you're like, where'd that come from? Then you got a dark room that as you get more to advance, that little crack leads into a dark room that you're afraid to open the door to. So
I like that. Adam, you touched on this a little bit. I don't want to take words out of your mouth, but do you think that some of the newer breedings, which we're seeing smarter dogs, do you also see that we may be having softer dogs?
yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. There's some of them out there that you still. I don't like a dog that you have to constantly stay in a 6 or a 7, to get anything out of. A dog that'll respond on the Garmin collar at a 2 and a 3 and a 4. That's to me a dog that's in a good area, and and you can keep them in a good frame of mind as you're training. If a low 3 means something to them, you can teach them and reinforce for that low 3, and it keeps them in a good frame of mind, and they don't get too, I guess you would call, spun out or panicky onto you. Because when they get panicky, man, you're kind of lost it at that point. You got to find a way to get out of that frame of mind.
I like it. I want to share with you. I had a conversation with a gentleman. He's way up in the northern states where it's cold and stuff, and he made a comment. I just want to see what you think about this. So he felt like that the dogs we see now seem to be softer, and his idea was that back in the day, dogs were kind of used as a tool, a hunt dog.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up in East Kentucky, a hunt dog was chained outside, and it wasn't a house dog.
Oh yeah, got scraps.
Yeah. And he says that his belief was that, through all these years, and now we've got all these hunt dogs or house dogs, 90% of the time, hunt dog 10% of the time, that it's, the dogs are getting softer, but maybe can't take the elements as much. I don't know if there's anything to that. But I thought that was an interesting conversation.
Right. If you're asking my opinion on that,
yes,
I think that is a dog by dog basis.
Okay.
I feel like some dogs that you can't muck up, right? That if you take them in the house, it's not going to bother them. They're going to go out and perform. If you go out there and run water blinds and you give it a correction for not casting into the water, and then it goes in the house this evening and it comes back out tomorrow, and I want to go back into the house because I got corrected. There's some dogs that it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then there are some dogs that know that this in the house lifestyle is one thing. I get treated a certain manner there. I get pampered there. And then you want me to go outside and work? No, I'm not doing that. I do think there are some dogs that fall into that category too. So,
yeah.
I see it on a dog by dog basis, and you just got to keep an eye on it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And that actually helps me just in, for somebody looking for a dog, maybe buying a finished dog, started dog, maybe something to look at.
Right.
So this year, Adam, I know you're busy as heck because, I try to text you sometimes. I know you're covered up. I always hate bugging you. Do you get time to hunt much?
You know, I do. I try to make time to hunt because I feel like if I don't, then I'm going to regret it because I love to duck hunt. It's a passion of mine that I just tremendously have fallen in love with, and I'm not maybe what you would say. I don't want to say I'm not as mad at them as I once was, but I am spoiled now because of the places I've getting to go hunt. And it's solely over some of the relationships that I've made through the years training dogs, right? So my wife says I'm spoiled. I admittedly myself say I'm spoiled. So I do go hunting, and I get to go to some really good places with even better people, and I'm just truly blessed. But yes, I do make time to go hunting. And if it wasn't for the people around me here at the kennel and at home here, I wouldn't be able to go as much. I probably have hunted 12 or 14 days this year out of 60, maybe 15. So
Not bad. Now, Adam, what's your favorite style? I just got to flooded timber hunt this year for the first time, actually back in December, and I loved it. I'd never done that before. What's your favorite way to hunt ducks?
Oh, it's to me, it's no doubt no finer way to hunt ducks than shooting mallards in the trees. I've done just about any kind of way of chasing ducks that you could imagine. And I shot them at my feet in Canada in the snow, which was absolutely amazing. It was wonderful. It was a great life experience. I've shot them in Tupelo gum swamps. I've shot them in the rice field. I've been to Venice, Louisiana. I haven't been on the East Coast, and I plan on going up and doing that at some point. But those old greenheads falling in through them 100-year-old oaks, partner, it's just there's nothing that I've done that has made me feel the way I feel about it other than that. You know, where I hunt at mainly, we hunt in the woods, and we have willow trees at this particular place, and it is an absolute dream to go over there and get to hunt the way that we do. And I was there yesterday, and it was incredible.
Hey, it's Kenneth Witt with the Gundog Nation Podcast, and I'm very proud to have as a new sponsor Cable Gangs. That's spelled Gangz. Brendan Landry at Cable Gangs has developed, in my opinion, and I'm a customer, the best tie-out systems on the market. They're easy to pack, easy to store. They can coil up just like an extension cord. They use premium galvanized steel cable coated with durable UV-resistant PVC coating. Brendan can make custom products, anything you want that's related to a dog tie-out system or a cable system or a way to safely secure your dog. They've even made a system that works with a bicycle so you can go and exercise your bicycles and have your dog running along with you. It would be impossible for me to describe to you all the different custom applications they have, so just go to their website at cablegangs.com and check it out. But also, they make dog tie-outs, a way to safely secure your dog if you're at a field trial, a hunt test, coonhound competition, whatever that might be, beagles. These guys make the best product on the market. Check it out for yourself, cablegangs.com. Hey, it's Kenneth Witt with the Gundog Nation Podcast, and we are so proud to be partnered with the National Shoot to Retrieve Association, also known as NASTRA. NASTRA has a common love for producing the best bird dogs possible. It's a great community that builds and bonds everlasting friendships. I've actually got to meet a lot of the NASTRA members who's taken me hunting and some other grouse hunting and stuff in different places. So I can honestly say I'm a member, and I'm proud to be partnered with them. NASTRA hosts national and regional field trials that emphasize the working ability of bird dogs. They have been around for over 50 years. There's a reason that NASTRA has been around that long. Please check them out at www.nstra.org and belong and support your local NASTRA club. They do have national and regional events, and it's a good place to help learn to be a better dog trainer, a better dog owner, and to compete with your bird dog. Thank you. Nice. This year, this season, I've got to hunt. Honestly, so I've not been a really experienced waterfowl hunter, and I've actually hunted crane more than I have duck. But this year, I got to duck hunt a lot, And I'm like you, and I've done I've done sea ducks and everything now. And I just hunted down on the coast, just come back yesterday in Texas. But I'm like you, that flooded timber I think was my favorite.
Oh yeah, it's not even a close second. Hunting in the woods versus a field or anything else that I've ever done. You know, it's just not even close.
Now, when you said the East Coast, Adam, are you talking about going sea duck hunting? Is that on your bucket list?
Yeah, I would like to go up and go sea duck hunting. I like to go to PEI or Maryland with Mr. Charlie up there and shoot a black duck. I've never shot a black duck. I think I've only been on one hunt where one was killed and it fell in through the trees. And like I was watching a 6-pack of mallards behind it. And then there was a leading hen. I was like, all right, we're going to let this hen sit down. And, you know, we were calling and they were finishing. So we were giving them that whack, 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 whack. And I looked at the 6-pack and I come back down to the hen and I'm like, holy jumping Jiminy, that's a black duck. And so I come out from behind my tree, boom, black duck. Another guy yelled out, and because he said that, so we didn't chew him out for shooting a hen with that 6-pack on top of her, you know. But
yeah,
it was a black duck. Yeah, I was that close to shooting it, but I didn't. So, and that was in the timber in Arkansas, and it would have been perfect. But I haven't shot one of those, and if the good Lord keeps me around this place much longer, I am headed up that way and I'm gonna shoot me a black duck if I can.
I've never got to see one of them either. I got to do the Alaska sea duck this year. I won it in an auction. Actually, I won it real cheap, so it was affordable, but it was something. It cost too much to do it again, but I sure did enjoy it.
Oh, I bet. I bet. I love to go to Alaska. That's got to be beautiful country.
It is. We'll talk about that sometime. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was just so different and beautiful. But what do you do? Any other type of hunting? Turkey?
I do not, man. I'm a duck hunter and a dog trainer, and that's about it. I always tell people the only other hobby I have other than dog training is duck hunting. So.
Okay. Well, that's a good fit for you then.
I have had a hankering to kill me a buck, like for some reason this year, and I'm gonna save my money and go somewhere good. I can't get it in the camera here. I want a big one. I don't want to shoot no baby. I want a Magnum. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna do it, so.
I've done that a long time. I love it. It's a fix too. I can't now. I just kind of hunt with dogs, but yeah, I think you'd enjoy that. Do you get to upland hunt any much?
No, sir. I don't. Mr. Jeff Horsley lives right through the woods here from me, and he was a field trial trainer, a retriever trainer for a long time, and I use his place a lot for training dogs, and he's bought him 2, I think he calls them Brittany Spaniels, and we'll buy some quail and put them out. We'll ride around on the Ranger, and they'll jump them up, and we'll shoot at them and all, and he gets to laugh at me missing and all that, and it's a good time. But no, I don't get to do much upland hunting. Too much walking for me.
Yeah, I like because I'm fidgety. I have to move around. But anyway, well, have you ever titled a dog in the upland with an upland title?
I have. I titled my dog Molly, I believe is who it was. It's been so long ago I can't remember, but I have. And then I titled a dog named Tig in the Grand, and you have to do upland, and that 5th series of the Grand is upland. So we got that done with him. So
Adam, to you, is the Grand harder than the Master National, or is it about the same?
I think it would be unfair to sit here and say one is harder than the other. I haven't done the Grand in a long time, so my opinion could be skewed by just ignorance to how the Grand has changed some. But I feel like if you judge the Master National the way the Grand judges the Grand, hardly anybody would pass the Master National. I feel like the work and maybe the technicality sometimes of the national is a little bit tougher, than the grand. But I also hear the grand's gotten more conceptual type marks and stuff like that. So I tell you what, they're both difficult to pass. And
Okay.
and to sit here and say that one is higher than the other, I think would be unfair, because I think I give a lot of respect to a dog that passes either one of them.
Yes. Now, for you personally, for a hunting dog, a companion, an everyday dog for you, not your clients, what's the ideal dog for you? Trait-wise, what kind of traits do you want for yourself?
For me,
Yes, sir.
I big black Labrador with a big set of what hanging between his legs that wants to tackle the world. That's as a team. That's the dog I'm looking for. He's got a big heart. He's got a lot of tenacity, and he's got an eagerness about him, the same eagerness that I do to go out and want to work together to achieve everything, every life dream that we have. That's the guy I'm looking for right there.
I like it. Would it be safe to say you like independent, but not too independent, still have a teamwork mentality?
I definitely, I was shy of that independent. I don't want him to be independent, but I want him to be smart enough to understand that when it's his time to be independent, to go find the birds that he's seen. Now, that is your time to go do your thing. But if I say, no, I don't want to get that one, I want to get this one, I also need you to be intelligent enough and smart enough to cooperate with me to go get the one that I want to get. But you got to give that same amount of thought and effort into getting that one as you did the one that you wanted to get. But now, that's the guy I'm looking for.
I like that. And when you duck hunt, do you have one dog that you take, or do you rotate? What do you usually take with you?
I generally hunt when I hunt. So I usually hunt with one of my customers named Mr. Leland Irby, and he has a dog named Willow, and we hunt Willow 90% of the time. I took Cassie Mae's little dog Marcy here one time this year, but most of the time it's me and Willow and Mr. Leland and his boys, and Willow is a fabulous dog. We're going to actually breed her. She has a lot of the traits we're looking for. She's a yellow female that's a great hunter. She's incredibly steady. I wouldn't say she's that Pete Rose put the ball on the bat type marker as a 2-year-old, but she's developed into a really good marking dog at a 4-year-old. So maybe a little late bloomer, but wanders around. She's wonderful around the house. She's wonderful at hunting. She does everything we need her to do the way we want it done. So, she's a good dog, fun dog to spend time with.
Oh. Now, 2026, what's coming up for Adam Campbell? What's big announcements? What's the goals that you got for this year?
Oh, man, just probably, get back in the ditch and get to work. Hunting season finishes up here next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but next. So, we've been working for sure, but, it'll go to a whole another level come February. And when you're not thinking about, I wonder if the ducks went into the drone hole today, or did they go into fool's gold, or maybe they were in the checkbook hole. I'm not going to be thinking about that. I'm going to be thinking about, where we're headed toward the end of the year, or what we're trying to accomplish. And we're going to get in the ditch and we're going to go to work. And every so often we're going to come up out of the ditch, look around, make sure we're going in the right direction, and get back in and go back to work.
I like that. Now, when does hunt test season officially begin for you?
Well, I'm thinking, sometime in March. There's an HRC test in February. I would love, if I get enough dogs back, I would love to stick my nose off into that deal to get that ball rolling some. Not that I want to be at every HRC event, but just to try to get some titles for some of my customers. And then March and April, May and June and July, I'll be heavy after, getting dogs qualified and if in the perfect world, we're done in June. But
Okay.
it almost seems like we have that dog that comes around and they're really rolling pretty good, and they can title in July and go to the national. We usually got one or two out there in July.
Which hunt test, Adam's your favorite to participate in as a handler?
I'm a master test type of guy, AKC master test. That's my favorite, and the reason being is it has nothing to do with anything other than it fits the way that I like to train dogs, and if I train dogs from a field trial background, right? So
Yeah.
Everything I do is field trial based, and then to me, we just fall back onto the master test, which is sometimes can be like a small qualifying, and so that's why it fits the way that I do. That's the way I like to train and so forth.
What pro trainers do you have guys that you pre-train with before these tests get together?
Not necessarily before the test, but before the Master National, we have a group that comes together and trains together. It's me, Blake Haithcote, Clay Owens, and Noah Spencer was in our group this year. So, and then sprinkle a few amateurs in there with us. And in the past, me and Tyler and Jimmy were together, and Scott Greer. But man, our trucks got so big. So like I think Tyler had 18 or 20 at the national. Jimmy had 16. Scott had 20. I think I had 28. So that's just too many dogs in one group. So
Yeah.
we kind of had to go our own separate ways.
Yes.
We shared Rody Best property in Texas. Me and my group was on one end, they were on the other, and we kind of flip flopped around. And Rody was so kind to us. What a dude!
He got a beautiful place too, doesn't he?
Golly, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love to be right now, kick back in that hot tub out there outside his house, overlooking that bottom pond down through there. It's so pretty,
Yeah.
I kick back with him right now and in that hot tub and check it out if I was out there.
Yeah, especially it's going to be cool. I like getting those things when it's cold outside.
Absolutely.
But no, I've got to go over there here in a few weeks. I got a dog over there with Rody that I've got a Floyd son.
Okay.
That's over there. Well, if you don't mind me asking you while I'm on that subject, then, what are you seeing of Floyd pups so far? I know you've had some, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I've had my hands on 3 of them, and let's see. I'm going to say late bloomers,
Okay.
which is the opposite of what to me Floyd was. I think Floyd won a Derby and an Open in the same weekend, which is the other opposite end of late bloomer.
Yeah.
I would say that's the opposite of a late bloomer. We have Charlie here, and we had another young dog that belonged to a fellow by the name of Kobe Cottom that we did some young dog work on. It we didn't have very long, and then we have Harley here, and they both got their master titles at 3. Went to the Master National and did not pass the Master National in Kentucky.
Oh.
So I lost Charlie in the first or second series. Harley in the first or second series, and then I lost Charlie in the fourth series. And then I took a long look at my training program and how I approached each one of those dogs. Felt like I overtrained Harley. Excuse me. I felt like I held her to a higher standard in some instances than I probably should have, which create a negative outlook for her. I backed off of her some this year, went a little bit different psychological approach to that particular dog, and I lost her in the 5th series on a water blind. She just ran a poor water blind, and it just wasn't good enough to pass. And I can't blame the judges. And then this year, Charlie went on to pass the Master National, in my notes as with flying colors. So, as a 4-year-old, he comes up, knocks it in the head. So,
Do you see consistency, Adam, or are they kind of across the board on those pups? Because I've got one. I'm just wondering. I think he might be probably what you consider a late bloomer too.
Yeah. Yeah. These two dogs are fairly different.
Okay.
Harley, you can't, you don't, it's that dog you want to be sweet to, even though you're getting onto it. Now, come on, you can do better. And then Charlie, you can climb on Charlie's rear end a little bit more, man. And, so they're kind of, even though they're brother and sister, they're kind of very different.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that they were consistent in between one another.
Okay. Are they yellow dogs?
They are yellow. Yeah.
Mine too. My dog's actually, when I say late bloomer, that's really not his fault. He had his formal training got started late, but his natural instincts to me are really good. And he's bold, like he's not soft at all. But he wants to please. I really like him. He looks just like Floyd. You stood them side by side. He just looks a little younger, but they look just alike.
Right. Just hearing stories about Floyd, of his level of intelligence and just how smart he is and how much of a team player he is really cool to hear. And I don't necessarily think these two guys have that level of intelligence. They're good dogs and smart dogs, but they're not like what you hear about Floyd.
Yeah. To me, Adam, and gosh, you know this way more than I do, it's hard to find a dog that throws itself over and over, a male dog especially. It's like racehorse. I come from Kentucky, you have Seattle Slew, but it might not throw. Next 100 colts, there ain't going to be a Seattle Slew in that run.
Right.
But,
I feel like some of the dogs I really enjoy in training right now go back to that Mickey dog, Windy City's Mighty Mouse. I'm really liking a lot of his lineage is what I'm getting in. And I do more of those, it seems like, and have had a lot of success with them.
Yes. So. And then the one dog owner I've had on here, it's probably the winningest coon dog on a hoof on paws right now is a Gray's Rack and Willie out of Manchester, Kentucky, which is right next door to where I'm from. And that dog's thrown so many champions, it's insane. No matter what he's bred it to, almost. It's, that's to me, and like I said, I am no expert. I'm not sitting here claiming to be a dog breed expert, but that doesn't seem to be the norm to see a dog that throws itself that much, that consistent. And matter of fact, he's got so many champions. They have a coon dog competition just for his offspring, and it's a lot of dogs. Yeah,
that is a lot of dogs. I remember Chris Lefford had a dog named Indigo Girl, and she threw a lot of good puppies. And I heard Lefford say one time, "You can breed her to a billy goat and get good puppies."
Yeah, when you find one like that, you got to make the most of it, don't you?
You got to make the most of it. You got to ride that train as long as you can ride it, I guess.
Now, Adam, if I remember correctly, you and I both come from a hound world, right? You've run beagles and stuff, haven't you?
That's right. I grew up running beagles and coon hounds and squirrel dogs. And we hunted deer with dogs. We hunted rabbits with dogs. We hunted squirrels with dogs. We hunted coons with dogs. But, from a wee little boy, I grew up coon hunting. We had – one of my uncles had black dogs, black and tans, and then one of them had Walker dogs. And then I had a cousin that had blue ticks and some red dogs, red bones. So,
you had them all.
We had them all. I got to grow up and see the different traits in all of them,
Yeah.
And, those black dogs, they'd run a deer maybe a little bit more than the Walkers would, but a little bit more hotter nose, where those blue dogs, their noses were so cold, and they get down there and booger around and work a track for so long, where old Bojack, one of our black dogs, 9 times out of 10, when he opened up, he was locating. He wouldn't even bark on the track. But then you would get some of those dogs, and a lot of times they were Walker dogs, if I remember correctly, that were right where you want them. They'd work a track that was not too cold, but they didn't let it get too hot before they opened up on it. They would work it fast and accurately. and they would get the job done and execute the job faster than the other ones a lot of times. It just seemed like.
Well, when I went to the Autumn Oaks this past year up in Indiana, I guess that's about the Super Bowl for the coon dogs.
Right.
And most of your winners that I observed, again, I'm not trying to be a coon dog expert, but it seems to be the walkers 9 times out of 10 are what's winning. And I don't know if it's because I've heard that they're fast, but there's something. I mean, you see all the dogs. You see red bones, you see blue ticks, you'll see some black and tans. Well, and red bones are pretty. I've seen a beautiful red bone up there.
And they're all good dogs.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
Oh, I grew up with a boy from high school from my hometown. They've had their own line of black and tans for 50 years. And, man, They got good dogs. They're beautiful dogs, too. I like them all, but I got too many right now. And, the other thing, and I'll shut up about hounds, but, man, these daggone squirrel dogs, if you got a good squirrel dog, they bring high dollar,
Man, they're so high, aren't they?
Yeah, crazy.
Golly. If you look at the National Retriever Championship Open, for instance, Ken,
yes.
And if you drew the numbers, man, they're high majority black. And a few yellows, then you may be a chocolate in there, and then maybe a golden or a Chesapeake or something off the wall, right?
Yes.
But if you look at the winners through the past, it is dominated by black labs.
Yes.
And, recently Floyd has won a couple. I think he's won 3 in Canada and 2 in the States, which is incredible.
Yes.
So the black ones are just better. And I think, and the coonhounds, the Walker dogs overall, there's probably more of them, and that gives them a higher probability of winning.
True.
And there's more of them because they're better.
Purina Pro Plan. Here at Gundog Nation, we use Purina Pro Plan for our dogs. We actually use the Sport Performance Edition, which is 30% protein and 20% fat, the beef and bison. It contains glucosamine, omega-3s for their joints. It also contains amino acids for muscles and antioxidants. And it also has probiotics. It's guaranteed to have live probiotics in each serving. There's no artificial colors or flavors. We see the difference in our dogs. We see the difference in their coat, their performance, their endurance, and also in recovery. Be sure to use Purina Pro Plan dog food. The reputation speaks for itself. There's a reason that Purina has been around for such a long time. We suggest that you use it, and we are so proud to be sponsored by Purina Dog Food. When you're getting ready to go on your next hunting trip, make sure you pack the most efficient and reliable ammunition on the market. Migra Ammunition brings you the most diverse loads on the market. Migra's patented stacked load technology is the epitome of efficiency. 2 shot sizes stacked together to create the most diverse and efficient line of shot shells in the industry. It doesn't matter what flyway, what state, or what the weather, the standard remains the same. At Migra, reliable loads that perform in any condition every single time. We're proud to have Migra Ammunition as a sponsor for Gundog Nation.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation, and I've got to tell you guys about something that I've gotten hooked on lately. It's Faux-licious. These are gourmet instant pho and ramen bowls that actually taste like the real deal. When I'm out in the field all day and the last thing I want is to settle for bland camp food, Faux-licious is what I go to. It's authentic, the flavor, it's real ingredients, it's ready in just minutes. It's perfect for hunters, fishermen, or anyone on the go. And you can get them over 1,900 Walmarts nationwide, your local H-E-B here in Texas. Or you can just go online at fauxlicious.com. Trust me, once you try it, you'll keep a few stocked in your bag, in your backpack, or for your next adventure. I just want to say this, I want to add this to this commercial because I know the owners of this company. They've hunted on my ranch. Joseph, he and I actually met in Colorado on a hunting trip that was a real adventure. They are true hunters. They've hunted at the ranch, and I've hunted with them. And Anna, she is just amazing. She's the one that came up with this idea. They were both on Shark Tank. They are amazing people. So I love seeing people like this have a business. And I just had to say that in addition to the commercial because I really believe in the product and I believe in the people that made the product. Be sure and go to fauxlicious.com or go to Walmart or H-E-B and try their product. I promise you, you will like it. And I've went 2 years in a row, Adam, to England. Well, this year it was in Scotland they call it the International Gundog League, which is the highest honor in the United Kingdom and all the,
Right.
Ireland, Scotland, and England and Wales that compete. And there'll be, they have to go through the whole field trial process, and it's field trial. And then they have to qualify, and they take around 60 dogs in the international one.
Right.
And I was there with some people that had been doing that for 40 years, learning so much history because, hey, that's where they all came from. And in fact, Queen Elizabeth, when until she got older in life, she attended those trials. And there was a duchess there. The last 2 years I've been, there was some royalty there. I don't understand all the royalty hierarchy, but there was a duchess. And anyway, my point is, they were telling me, this lady, up there in the years, and I'm no young chicken, that you didn't see anything at those competitions in that trial at that level but black. And she was commenting on the dogs there now. There's yellows, which they classify a fox red as yellow. Mm-hmm. So you see a few red dogs. You see a few Goldens because it's a retriever, so it can be any retrieving breed.
Okay.
And there's starting to be a few more Goldens because there's better bred Goldens at that trial. Uh-huh. But they not in any of them that I'm aware of. And I've been the last 2 years in a row, and I've got a lot of friends and contacts over there. You don't see a chocolate dog. I mean, I think it was bluegrass. I played bluegrass at them. We use Martin guitars. If you showed up at Yamaha, well, they'd laugh you off the stage, you know what I mean? So you show up at an English field trial with a chocolate dog, I'm pretty sure it'd be like going to the Hell's Angels party with a Honda.
Yeah.
A Harley,
Yeah.
But
don't do that.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, it seems to be that's, the tradition, and that's what wins.
Right. Somebody called me the other day. They said, I want a chocolate English lab. I said, partner, I don't think they make him. I don't think they make those. I may be wrong because I'm not a connoisseur of English and British dogs, but I just don't know if that's such a thing. But there may be, but I've never known of it if there was.
I think you're correct, and here's the only caveat or whatever. There are English bred field trial labs, which is what you see there, which is the blacks and yellows. They have show labs, which looks like a whiskey barrel with feet. Yeah. And a big old giant head, and they barely can run and barely can swim. I hope I ain't offending people, but it's just
no athletic ability.
Yeah. But I think there are chocolates in that show world of the English stuff.
Okay.
I don't see one, but I think it exists. But you're right. You answered correctly.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about an interesting topic, if you want to open up a serious can of worms, we can go to talking about the difference of in British and English and American labs and all of that. Boy, it's that there's a world of difference. I would say, wouldn't you?
I do, and I can be. I won't be a hypocrite. I actually have right here on the ranch. I've got right now 2 British dogs, and I own 3 American dogs. Only one's here right now. I've got a pup that's 6 months old off of Chris Rudd and out of Clark's Stroker dog, and Chris's winter dog. So I've got more Americans than I do British. Is that right? So there are differences. But I will say this. I've got a yellow British dog, actually Irish dog. And Adam, people I hunt with have no clue that dog's British. He'll run through a wall. He's got drive like you've never seen. I've had judges come up to me at hunt tests and just, be raving over him.
Right.
But he's not the norm in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you train him in a British traditional manner, or did you train him like a field trial dog?
He was trained. I didn't train him. I'm training I've got a red female from England. I'm training her. And I just so you know, when I get to a certain level, sometimes I need help. Like, but anyway, he was trained in British style, but he doesn't have the traits that you would think are, what everybody stereotypes a British dog as. That's what I think. I mean, but yeah.
Right. I think there's a pretty vast difference a lot of times in the manner in which we train. I think I've had some of those dogs come in that that had some ability and had some want to. You'd have to tread lightly around them, which is fine, Yeah. But the majority of them just don't have the want to. When it comes down to WORK, they'd rather curl up and stay in the back of the corner of the truck box instead of coming out. And let's go to work and let's tackle some tasks that are difficult that we're going to have to, work together and be a teammate, to be teamwork to get this deal done. And they just, I don't see that in them. And look, I just bred a litter of puppies here at my place, and I see that in some of them. So that's not exclusively to the Britishes,
Right.
It's just, there's just a little bit different. We've got a British dog down here right now, and somebody's going to tell me otherwise, but I'm telling you, that little sucker's going to be a hammer.
Yep.
He is one heck of a fine little dog.
Yep.
Marks, and just when he goes in on the bird, he tries to drive it in the dirt like he's mad at it, So,
yeah,
I want a kennel full of British dogs? No, absolutely not. But there are some of those little dogs that can come out and do a good job and do well. But the majority of them just don't fit in with me and the way that I like to go about doing things.
And Adam, I would think you being in the South, you probably can speak with a lot of experience because there's so many British dogs in Mississippi. You think about Wild Rose Kennel, Sporting Life, Southern
Barton.
Oak. Yeah, Barton. There's a lot
Mossy Oak Kennels over
Mossy
there.
Oak Kennels, that's right. All them guys import dogs. So I'm sure lots of people bring to you those dogs to train.
Mm-hmm.
Or a few.
I do. I see some of them, yes, sir.
Yeah.
From time to time. And
but
they can be difficult. We don't get 10 of them out and teach them to sit all at the same time and all of that like you see those guys do. You're never going to catch me with 10 dogs out sitting around my feet. Now, you may catch me running a 398-yard lamb blind with a hillside, but you're not going to catch me with 10 of them out sitting there looking at me, waiting on me to call their name or anything like that. So that's just, if that's all I did, I'm sure those little dogs would do great, but I just haven't had much success getting them to come out and do a difficult task out there at a distance. You know what I mean?
yes. And what I've learned, again, I'm not a know-it-all by any means. What I learned over there, it's the way they hunt. Like all the field trials, at least what I saw, there's no water work. It's upland.
Right.
They're marking shot birds and retrieving pheasant and partridge is what I saw. So
right.
I didn't see, there was no ducks and no water work. So it's a different style of hunting, and it suits the needs of their style.
Right. Correct.
And we hunt differently here, and it's I can see the difference, and I can see the need for a different temperament and a different drive and a different whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we hunt differently. We train differently. So, there's probably a reason why some of them don't fit in to what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, I'm not talking bad about anybody or any certain way of doing things. I'm just talking about the way we do stuff.
So my yellow dog, he is a Southern Oak dog, and I'm telling you, he's a hammer. I mean, he's retrieved sandhill crane. He'll run so hard. I've got videos posted everywhere, but he'll throw dirt and he takes off. And he'll run so hard, he'll about slides like Pete Rose going to home plate past a bird and grab it while he's sliding, bring it back. He hunts pheasant and he waterfowls, duck hunted. He's duck hunting the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean and the bay down there. And, so he's, I just know he is not stereotypical what people think, and I love the dog. I mean, he's perfect to me.
Right.
But also I like my other dogs. Anyway.
Right. It don't make one any better than the other. It's just personal preference. It's Ford and Chevy,
Yeah. I think I'm in the
Some
middle
people
here.
like Dodge.
I'm like Rodney King. Can't we just all get along?
Yeah, I mean, I love all the guys, man. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Barton and all those guys over there. The guys at Wild Rose, I've gotten to know them, and I've gotten to know Barton and a lot of guys that I'm drawing a blank on. The other fellow there at Oxford Sporting Life, Marty.
Yeah, Marty.
I've gotten to know Marty through the years, some there to trade shows or wherever it may be. And, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Marty. And, hey, I like those guys. And I hope they do well. And they're probably way better at training that dog than I am.
Yes. I don't know, but you're right. I know all three of those. I don't know the Wild Rose owner, Mike Stewart. But I know Marty, I know Barton, and I've known both of them a very long time. And there's good folks. You know what it is, boys? It's different strokes for different folks. If that's what you want, go for it.
So be it. I just may
sir.
not be your dog trainer in that instance.
Yes.
I may not be your best option. I'll still be your friend. I may not be your best option to get your dog trained.
Now, Adam, if these fine people listening on this podcast want to locate Adam Campbell and get their dog trained by one of the masters, how do they do that?
Man, I'm pretty easy to find. I hear my name is on Google, so people will call sometimes, and I'll be like, "How'd you find my phone number?" And it's like, "Well, it's on Google." And I was like, "Well, how about that?" And so some people find me on there, but I'm over here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We call it Title Town. I'm right here outside of Tuscaloosa in Alabama. So we got Instagram. If you want to find us via the Instagram, I think we have a Facebook. I'm not quite sure, but don't go there looking for me.
Okay.
You won't find me there, but I think we're on Google and we're on Instagram, so we're easy to find if you need something. If you want to call and say hello, that's fine too. Give us a shout.
Adam, have y'all erected a statue yet in Tuscaloosa of Nick Saban?
Oh, you're damn right. It's been a statue of Nick Saban out there.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So we have a beautiful stadium. So you can pull up to the front of it, and it's called the Walk of Champions. As you walk up through there, and then they got all the SEC championships, and I think there's about 22 or 24 of those, and then they got all the national championships up through here, and I think there's 18 of those. And then every coach that has won a national championship in the University of Alabama, off to the right, there's statues of them down through there. And I think there's 4 of them. I think there's Coach Wade, Bear Bryant, of course, Gene Stallings, 1992 national champion, and then Nick Saban with his 6 national championships at the University of Alabama. So,
well, I'm a little bit of a historian. I'm going to tell you something you'll appreciate. So, Kentucky's a basketball school.
Correct.
Back in Adolph Rupp's days, when he was the coach at University of Kentucky basketball, Bear Bryant was a coach at University of Kentucky football.
That's right.
And it's kind of like when Babe Ruth left the Red Sox and they didn't win for years. Bear Bryant left Kentucky to go to Alabama.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. Look at our program, look at yours in football.
That's right.
I was told, I don't know if this is true, this is a story that was always told when I was at UK, is that year Bear Bryant had the winningest record ever in Kentucky football's history, and Rupp's year wasn't that great, and that they bought Rupp a Cadillac, and they give Bear Bryant a watch, and it wasn't a Rolex, it was a Timex.
Right.
He knew that his fate in Kentucky was not going to be there. But anyway, I don't know if that's accurate, but I was always told that story. And
I think that story is very accurate, and thank God that they did. and then the bear came home because Mama called, as he had said himself, So Bear Bryant died January the 26th, 1983, which would be next Monday, will be 43 years ago. And that is my birthday. I was born that day.
Wow.
And I've gotten to know Paul Bryant Jr. a little bit, just in passing. And I sold a dog to his son-in-law. And there's a little community cafe down here called Robertson's Barbecue. And he is a huge fan of it. And he has some farms around this area, in the Greene County. And he always stops. And I've gotten to know Mr. Bryant pretty good as we stop, and we may have lunch together, or if we happen to go there, we may sit at the same table and talk and this and that. And I said, well, Mr. Bryant, I was born the day your father died. And he said, well, son, I've heard a lot of stories about that day, but nobody has ever told me that right there.
Wow.
So I thought that was cool.
That's interesting. What about that?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you confirmed my story was true.
Yeah, I think that's true. And they always told me growing up that Mama was crying because she was in labor with me, and Daddy was crying because the bear died. So he was even though I never got to know him, he's a legend in these parts, and created a tradition at a university that really has been unparalleled up until Nick Saban did it at the same university, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And we always wondered what would have happened to Kentucky football had he stayed. And, we've been trying to get there ever since. And it's oh man. But, and I won't get on this. I know you got to go at them, but
I'm good.
This NIL is just, we've talked about it earlier, but it's just really changed the game. And, look what Mark Cuban just did for Indiana football,
Right. That's a cool story. And I love Signetti's mentality of, he's all business. He's work. And, going back to Nick Saban, Alabama football was in pretty dark times when Nick Saban arrived. And he changed that whole mindset. He not only changed the football program, he changed the whole university. He changed this whole city. It's totally different than when he got here. Just the way things are, the way things are done, and you think about all the lives that he touched through coaching football. Well, he not only just the players, he changed my life because I was a young football coach, right? And he came to town and he's preaching this message he's got of the process and, being disciplined and not only just doing things, but doing things at a high level, doing things the way they're supposed to be done, right? And not being complacent, not settling for, hey, we won a national championship last year, or we passed 11 dogs at the national last year. It's okay if we pass 6 this year. That's not acceptable. You can't fall into the trap of complacency. And I kind of learned that from him.
Wow.
You accomplish what you accomplish, but you got to go right back to work, or you're going to fall right back with quote unquote everybody else, right?
Yes.
You have got to go back to work. You've got to put that behind you, not rest on your past success and keep forging ahead. And Nick Saban really set that mentality in me as he got here to the university, and I got to follow him and learning from him. He's incredible. That man, just the way he worked and the attention to detail. And, Ray Vogt always says the devil's in the details. And Nick Saban is a living example of that he's so detail oriented and there's no stone left unturned. And and it leads to the amount of success that he had. And
yes,
he had those 4 pillars. It was discipline, excellence, commitment, and pride. 4 pillars that he lived upon. And that's how he built his program upon those 4 pillars. And was pretty cool.
What a class act.
Right.
He was just a class act, and I had such a respect for him and, Alabama's tradition. I probably get chastised for saying this because of where I'm from, but I always pulled for Alabama in the national championships. It's an SEC team. I grew up SEC my whole life, and the SEC's changed now. It goes the Southeast Conference almost goes to California. I mean, it's Texas and Oklahoma. It's not the Southeast anymore, but it's as West.
Right.
But I always pulled for Alabama because we obviously weren't in the national championship football. So
Right.
yeah.
Anyway, maybe you call it luck. I was born into a family that bled crimson. My dad bled crimson, and he was a huge Bama fan, and he loved the Tide. And the year he died in September of 2020, and we won the national championship that year in dominating fashion over Ohio State. And we had a kid by the name of Will Anderson on that team as a true freshman. And I remember telling Mama that my daddy would love to watch that young man play. And I watched him play in the NFL playoffs the other day, and he plays the game with such a toughness and a physical prowess out there that just everybody's got their eyes on him. You know what I mean? And my dad would have loved watching him play.
Adam, I tell people all the time out here, I was like, Kentucky basketball is very similar to Alabama football because we're both rural states. We don't have pro sports. Kentucky, for the most part, at least where I'm from, Kentucky is a poor area, and it was everything. So, and I'm sure it's like that when you grew up, but when I grew up in our little town of Hyden, Kentucky, I'd see stores closed, barbershop closed if the SEC tournament was on or NCAA tournament was on and Kentucky was playing. My grandmother lived next to her sisters, and you walked in their house during a Kentucky game, you weren't allowed to talk. You didn't speak. It was a religious experience, and I always figured it was a lot like that there in football.
Yeah, it is that way here, 100% so. And a funny story about that, I have a great friend named Walter Field, and he had a dog, and it got ran over. And he got my number from a mutual friend of ours, and he called, and we were talking about some dogs, and I sent one. I had two females, one named Dolly and one named Sweet Pea, that were really good little black gyps. And I had a yellow here, and I sent it home with him, and he tried one from Ronnie Lee and tried one from Charlie Moody, and he took them home, and they just didn't fit right, and he was being selected rightfully so. He's about to spend a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
He's about to spend $10,000 or so on a dog, and he didn't want to make a mistake. And he's like, "What about those two little females you got?" And I said, "I don't want to sell them, and I don't want to sell them." And finally, I told him I would talk to him about selling him one of them because he kind of stayed after me, and he called me on a Saturday. He says this, I don't remember it, but this is his story, so I'm gonna tell it like he tells it. That I called and I said hello, and he said, "Hey, Adam, I really want to talk to you about one of those little females that you have." And he said that I told him, and said, "Hey, Hoss, Alabama's playing right now. We're going to talk about this shit some other time," and hung up, So I don't know. I don't remember that being that way, but he claims it is. But he ended up buying Sweet Pea from me, and not only did I get to sell him that dog, and she was the youngest master hunter I ever made, passed the Master National at 23 months old, great dog, but I acquired a great, great friend, one of my best friends in the whole world right now is Walter Field, and it all worked out. But don't mess up my damn Bama game time.
Yeah, that's
what I'm getting there. Yeah, the Tide's playing, leave me alone.
But my mom, buddy, she watched. I mean, she's 77. She'd kill me for saying her age. She's 77, and you can't even sit in the house. I mean, she's screaming, hollering, and
them Wildcats to get it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and anyway, but it's something else. You gotta love it.
I do, man, and it's a lot of fun, and I don't know where we're headed now. I love our coach. I like the way the kids love him, and I like the way he does things, but I just wonder if he's mean enough.
Yeah.
it's football. I wonder if our teams made it. I know we're getting in on football. I feel like we got too many preachers on our team. We need some guys that'll get down and dirty a little bit more. When I say preachers, I'm talking about too many nice guys.
Yeah.
We need some guys that takes about this much and they're ready to fist fight. That's the kind of guys that we need. We need a few of those out there.
You need a Lawrence Taylor or somebody,
Oh man, what a player!
Yeah,
what a player. So anyway, that's enough about Alabama football. Roll Tide.
Yeah. No, man. I hope we got a new coach this year, and it's Oregon's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Stein is his name, right?
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about him. My son knows more. My youngest son's at Kentucky as a student right now.
Okay,
but we keep our fingers crossed. It looks like he's getting some good transfers. But
yeah, so we'll see. I hate the state of where college football's in as far as the playoffs, and then like the position that Lane Kiffin got put in this year, and then the Ole Miss program altogether, which I may believe ultimately that they made them stronger and more close knit, brought them together, which allowed them to make that run in the playoffs. That could be it. Who knows?
Yes.
But I hate that Lane Kiffin got put in the predicament that he got put into. It's tough on him, man. You get an opportunity to go somewhere great. The money in Louisiana can't be touched. Texas and all them's got money like that, but there is a ton of money in Louisiana with the oil and the shipping and the Mississippi River, the mouth of the Mississippi River, all that stuff coming in and out of it. So I don't know.
Right. Adam, I don't know if you knew this. I'm a landman, and in West Texas, University Lands owns property, thousands of acres. So
Right.
They get royalty checks. The University Lands, which goes into the University of Texas college system, they get royalty checks that it's unbelievable the amount of money
I bet.
that goes into that school. So these schools like that. Which, on the other hand, you see schools with these gigantic budgets that spent all this money and still didn't get the playoffs. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's right. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, hey, I know you're a busy man, and we've been on here a pretty good while.
It's all good, man. I've enjoyed it. It flew by.
Look forward to seeing you at some of these events.
Yes.
You go to Ducks.
I did. I went to Ducks last year with Purina, and if they'll have me back, I will do that again. That was a lot of fun.
I hope to see you there. And then, do you go to Delta Waterfowl?
No, I haven't, and I want to say it's in Iowa or somewhere this year, and I definitely won't be doing that.
It's in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, I'll probably will show my face at NWTF. Will you be there?
Yeah, but I don't have a booth, but I'm on unless I squat with somebody else. But I'm going to be there, running my mouth, shaking hands, meeting people, just walking around.
Yeah, I'll have. I think Marley dances that weekend, so I may be there for Thursday and Friday, and then leave at some point that day. And then I may come back because I know Shen's having a big party that I've been invited to, and I think Mossy Oak is, Rolling Thunder is, and that's just Rolling Thunder and Shen are two of the companies that I have a lot to do with and care about a lot, and so I'll try my best to be there. And
we'll be there. I think we went ahead and believe it or not, we got a ticket cheaper than normal, which is odd. But I think I'm going Wednesday night and stay till leave out Sunday.
Okay, yeah,
I'll look
good.
for you.
If I get up there, maybe we can cross paths.
Yeah, I'll text you
for sure.
All right,
for sure.
Adam, thank you so much, everybody. Adam Campbell. Check out the Doghouse Podcast, one of my favorite all-time podcasts with Adam Campbell and Jimmy. We'll try to do this again sometime, Adam, but I'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate everybody that listened.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation, and I'd like to encourage all you listeners and viewers on our YouTube channel to check out patreon.com Gundog Nation. For $10 a month, you can become a member of our community, and we'll have access to lots of stuff. Mainly, we'll do a monthly forum, an open forum, where you can ask me anything Gundog related, and we'll learn from each other in the community. Should be a lot of fun each month. We will do that. So check it out, patreon.com/Gundog Nation.